Tonight on Joy News Prime, dramatic twist in Parliament as majority overturn what they say is unconstitutional rejection of the 2022 budget and then approve it.
Favor of the motion, say aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried.
But Minority Leader describes today's approval of the budget as unconstitutional, insisting the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament should not have counted himself as MP.
I'm particularly disappointed in the conduct of the first Deputy Speaker, having to include himself and to exercise a vote in order to meet their mandatory defined 138.
Also in this bulletin, jobless toll booth workers demand unpaid salaries and new job postings 2 weeks after the toll levy was suspended.
We're supposed to be treated with respect. So if you want to reassign us, you should come out with verbal details. You can't just express and say, I want to reassign you. Where and where?
And in business,
rising concerns about the 1.75% e-levy as digital payment expert warns the charge would derail growth of digital financial services.
It will negatively affect financial inclusion agenda as the government himself is driving. I don't think that, we are at a point where we have to tax the consumer.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. The majority in Parliament has overturned the decision to reject the 2022 budget without minority in the chamber. Majority Leader Chairman Sabonsu says the rejection of the budget did not meet the test established under Article 104 because Parliament did not have the required numbers.
I think we just witnessed what happened in the chamber today in response to what happened in the chamber last Friday. Because of that, over the weekend and indeed this morning, we have been in consultation with our colleagues to enable us approach this outstanding business in unison and in unity. Unfortunately, we got to some extent and we differed on two counts. One had to do with the e-levy matter and the other to do with the procedure to attend to what we consider an impropriety about what happened last Friday. The House, as you do know, was purported last Friday to have taken a decision on the budget. It was to the effect that Parliament had rejected the economic policy and budget statement of the government for the 2022 financial year as presented to the House by the Minister of Finance on behalf of His Excellency the President on Wednesday, 17th November 2021. On our part, we considered it as a nullity because it did not meet the provisions of Article 104 of the Constitution, which is fortified by our own standing orders, Order 109. On these two counts, what was done, purportedly done, was in flagrant violation of our own orders and the Constitution. And we thought that as a House, we should come to some determination on this together. Because, colleagues, this is not the first time such a thing has come before the House. I refer us to something that happened during the day of the Honorable Do Ajaho as the Speaker of the House. A decision had been made by the House, and Ajaho, Right Honorable Do Ajaho, came with a statement which should have informed the Speaker about what he did. It has happened before in the 6th Parliament, and there is a record of this. So, compatriots, what we have done is just to recognize the fact that what happened on that day was a complete violation of the Constitution. It cannot stand the test of any constitutional test or even the test of our own standing orders.
The First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Wusu, counted himself as an MP, making the majority caucus in the House 138 members. He explains that this paves the way for Parliament to carry out the rescission motion moved by the majority.
Members, the number presented to me by the clerks at table is 137 of you plus me, MP for Bekwai, 138. Honourable members, for the avoidance of doubt, let me read out the constitutional requirement so that there's no confusion as to who can vote, what numbers are required to take a decision. Article 104(1). Except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting. The vote of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. What it means is that before you take a decision, there must be at least a majority of all members present. With me, we have 138 members. That's a majority. It doesn't mean that all the 138 must vote yes or no. A majority of this 138, their decision will carry the day.
In a one-sided House, the majority overturned last Friday's rejection of the 2022 budget. For several hours, the majority and minority engaged in long negotiations in a desperate attempt to build consensus over the rejected budget. But talks broke down and the minority boycotted sitting. Let's go to Parliament and speak with Parker Wilson, who's been monitoring proceedings for us. Parker, the minority has been holding a press conference. Did they explain to you why they were not in the chamber to actually contest the First Deputy Speaker counting himself as MP? All right, we'll try and get Parker, but before he joins us again, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says he's disappointed in the First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Wusu, for counting himself as a Member of Parliament to carry out the rescission of the rejected 2022 budget. He argues that, according to the standing orders of the House, the Speaker cannot vote.
I'm particularly disappointed in the conduct of the first Deputy Speaker, having to include himself and to exercise a vote in order to meet their mandatory defined 138 without recourse or respect to our standing orders and to the 1992 Constitution. Let him be reminded, and I quote, Standing Order 109, voting in the House. If you want, I'll read it in full. But Standing Order 1092 reads, Mr. Speaker shall have neither an original nor a custom vote, and if upon any question before the House the votes are equally divided, the motion shall be lost, as I indicated. But for our purposes today, 1093 reads, a Deputy Speaker, and for my purposes, first Deputy Speaker, and a member for Bekwai. It reads, I added that. The Constitution says, a Deputy Speaker or any other member presiding shall not retain his original vote whilst presiding. So constitutionally, they were also 137. So Ghanaians should expect that what they have done is also a nullity to quote them, if we are to respect the provisions of the Constitution. Standing Order 109 is also itself derived from a constitutional provision of Article 104(2), which reads, the Speaker shall have neither an original nor custom vote. We all know for purposes of today that the person presiding and the Speaker for today was the Honorable Joseph Osei-Owusu of Bekwai as Speaker. He has no business counting himself among them, and therefore, as far as we are concerned, today's vote reflected another 137 by those who respect the tenets of the Constitution and the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana. So for the media, I repeat for your ears again, a Deputy Speaker or any other member presiding shall not retain his original vote whilst presiding. They chose conveniently to quote Right Honorable Do Ajaho, one of our own, and a proud one, of course. Therefore, what they said by the Honorable Do Ajaho is as relevant for their purposes because they are not 138 by the words of the Honorable Do Ajaho. They were 137.
We can now hear from my colleague, Parker Wilson. Parker, did the minority explain why they were not in Parliament or in Chamber to contest Joseph Owusu's decision to actually count himself as MP?
Aisha, you know that there's been a long-running meeting today, just mainly to build consensus over the 2022 budget. And in the view of the minority, since there was no headway, there was a stalemate, they resolved not to go into the chamber because the NPP were clear in their minds that when they get into the chamber, they were going to reverse the Speaker's earliest decision and also ensure that the 2022 budget is brought back to the floor for approval. And it's the main reason the NDC resolved not to appear in the chamber today to assist their colleagues on the majority side to approve the budget. And of course, as you heard from the minority leader, what happened a few hours ago was an illegality. In fact, he says that the majority perpetrated an illegality because Joseph Owusu cannot, upon assuming the Speaker's chair, count himself as a member of the House. So if you look critically in the standing orders, what happened? The NPP did not have sufficient numbers to take a decision on the budget. And that has been his point. So today, the same script, just that the actors have switched roles. Last week, you recall, was Alban Babin, who was asking the finance minister to leave the chamber. Today, Joseph Owusu, sitting in the Speaker's chair, equally asks the finance minister, Kenneth Furiata, and the Attorney General, who was also in the chamber, together with the National Security Minister, to also leave whilst they do proper counting of the members of parliament within the chamber. So after that, he put the question. The decision of Alban Barben was reversed, which the minority says clearly is an affront to the Speaker of Parliament, because as the first Deputy Speaker, you cannot overrule your boss's decision. So they have a disagreement on that level. But of course, the minority has also indicated that cooperation will suffer going forward. In fact, every issue for consideration will be subjected to a vote, because the majority took an enshrined position that they were not going to abolish the electronic levy, neither were they going to take away the Ejapa deal from the 2022 budget, which the NDC made clear that there were real issues to them. And so if they cannot compromise and reach a consensus to approve the budget, well, going forward, every decision will be subjected to a vote. And since most of the MPs are also ministers, there's a possibility that a lot of them will not be in the chamber at the time they need a vote, or a major decision should be taken by Parliament. So this is the view of the NDC. And let me be quick to add that the issue of George Sewusu counting himself as a member of the House, the minority strongly oppose that. In fact, they have cited reasons why Doajao decided to declare his seat vacant when he was appointed the Speaker of Parliament. So if Doajao at the time wanted to be counted as a member of Parliament, he would have still maintained his position and again be the Speaker of the House.
What does the minority group intend to do? As you can see, the majority have taken the decision. What do they intend to do?
Well, so we are told that tomorrow they would have a caucus meeting and make their decision known to the people of this country. But preliminary, they are certain in their mind that they are not going to file any motion to reverse what has happened today. That we know. I've spoken to some of them and they have indicated to me that as for filing a motion of rescission to reverse what Joe Wise did today is out of the table. But what is assured is that going forward, there would be no consensus. Going forward, every issue will be subjected to a vote. And again, with the issue about the estimate, because now the budget has been approved by one-sided MPP House. So whether they will join, I am told that indeed they will participate at the committee level to look or peruse the budget thoroughly as far as the estimates are concerned, because they believe the devil is in the detail. If they don't participate in the view of the NDC, the NPP might walk away with a lot of issues that may, one way or the other, jeopardize the development of the country. And so with the budget estimation, they will be in the committee room to interrogate that and put all the questions that they have to ask. But for cooperation, the NPP or the majority in the House will not get cooperation going forward. In fact, I wanted to engage the majority leader. In fact, where I stand is his office. I said Chairman Sabonsu, but when I walked in, I was told that he had exited because he's had a very exhaustive day, so he's going to rest. So we are yet to get an official reaction from the majority caucus on the new development by the minority. But for now, we know that the minority has served notice that cooperation will suffer going forward in the Zaid Parliament. Parker
Wilson is our correspondent in Parliament. Let's now get an understanding of the constitutionality or otherwise of what has just happened in Parliament. Dr. Rashid Rahman is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. He joins me via Zoom. Private legal practitioner Samson Ladi Anyanini also joins me for this conversation. Let me start with you, Samson. Now, both sides are accusing each other of unconstitutionality. What does the law say, or where does the law stand on this?
Right. So, Aisha, what has happened this afternoon in Parliament? It will appear that the NPP majority, clearly from their perspective, have marshaled a superior legal strategy and have outsmarted the NDC in the circumstances of the events. What I find a bit difficult to accept, or what I find problematic, is the interpretation of the Constitution, Article 104, to the effect, and the Standing Orders 109 to the effect that the Deputy Speaker presiding, whom the Constitution deprives the power to vote in the circumstances, is capable of being counted to fulfill the precondition for that vote. That, for me, appears problematic. However, I have listened to the Honorable Afenyo-Markin say that the Deputy Speaker in presiding was not deprived of a casting vote, but of an original vote. Because if you read Order 109, I think 1091, the person presiding is deprived of both original and casting votes. Then in 109 sub-rule 3, it mentions that it simply doesn't mention the casting vote, but mentions the presiding person being deprived of the original votes. So if you look at it from that perspective, and that interpretation too is hugely problematic. And for that one, I can stick my neck out and say that interpretation is wrong. It's turning the law on its head. That if in the, I want to read the specific provision here in Order 109. 109.2 says the Speaker shall have neither an original nor a casting vote, and if upon any question before the House the votes are equally divided, the motion shall be lost. Then 109.3, a Deputy Speaker or any other member presiding shall retain his original vote while presiding. Shall not retain his original vote while presiding. If the interpretation of this provision is that because there is no mention of casting vote, therefore the person is entitled to cast a vote where there is a tie, then I think that would be a wrong reading. And the Speaker cannot have a casting vote. Now, the reason I bring that into perspective is that from that reading, then you could see that the majority, the strategy they devised for today was that if the minority members came into the House and it was time to vote and they voted, there will be a tie. There will be 137
for both sides.
For both sides. What that would have meant is that the budget, once again, would have been rejected. Now, it does appear that as far as they are concerned, if they came in and they did it that way, then the Speaker presiding would still have cast a casting vote. And that casting vote would have made the majority vote 138 instead of 39. So whether they absented themselves or they came into the House, the majority strategy was to achieve a vote. Now, if you look at there are a number of nagging legal questions, and one of them, which is central, is this: if the budget, as now approved, had been amended, then it would not have been possible to now approve it in the manner they have done. But if it is not amended to, then the problem is when you file the rescission that you file, the motion of rescission, implicitly is an admission or is a concession that the budget, in fact, was rejected.
Right. Let me bring in Dr. Dramani in here. Dr. Dramani, indeed, prior to this today's proceedings, you have called for cool heads and consensus building. Well, it does happen that it didn't work out. The consensus building broke at a point before proceedings began. What's your own reading of what has happened today?
Sorry, my reading of what has happened today is, you remember yesterday we were on your platform on the PM Express,
right.
And myself and the legal person on the program said that, look, if we are going to stick to legalities, then we are not going to get out of this this situation. As you can see already, as the legal person is saying, there are problems in terms of if we want to subject what happened today to some careful legal analysis. And so what I have been saying, and I keep repeating, is that I think this is not the time to begin to stick to legalities, because none of the parties is going to get out of this clean if we open the legal box. I think what is needed, as I said yesterday, is that we needed to at least wear some practical hats and see pragmatically how are we going to get out of this. I mean, I hear the majority leader, and I've spoken to the minority side as well, indicated true, they were in a very kind of marathon meeting since morning, but that did not yield anything. I don't know the details, but I believe what has happened is that maybe one side refused to take a step into the middle. And if we want to build consensus, it's going to be very difficult if you go into a negotiation and then both sides don't move. It becomes very difficult for one side to feel that, you know, we've not had an opportunity to save face. So as I said, I don't know the details, but I was saying yesterday, and I said that today, that look, at the end of the day, the NDC side might not get all the 5 demands that they made because they don't have the bigger picture in terms of our revenue envelope and the expenditure expectations and so on. The minister has that picture, and so there would have been, in the interest of building consensus, there would have been some kind of negotiation to the extent that, you know, the minister would give in something to the NDC, and the NDC would also give up some of his demands. And that is how we can move on as a country. Because look, 137 is going to be very, very difficult going forward, particularly when both sides begin to dig in, as we are hearing from the minority side. If they say everything is going to be subjected to a vote going forward, we should be ready for some gridlock. And for me, looking at all this, you know, it's just almost like we are in a situation where both sides are trying to equalize. On Friday, we had a winner and a loser. And on Monday, we had the direct opposite, another winner and another loser. And but that's not what we want. We want a situation where at least both sides can save some face, and then the business of this country can move on. And I think we are not going to relent in terms of the work that we do at our center to make sure that, you know, we don't want to hear what we heard from the minority saying that consensus is dead. I mean, there's not going to be any discussion and so on, because that is going to take us into a situation where I have seen in some of the work that I have done in some countries where, you know, this kind of relationship breaks down completely, and then Parliament is in a situation of a gridlock for the entire period of the legislature. That's all we want.
Right. Let me bring in something briefly. What are the implications for the legislature and the country as a whole with what has happened?
Well, Aisha, for the moment, as I speak to you, I am trying to, you know, put a number of the things that have happened into a legal test to confirm to myself and to my satisfaction that the law has been fully satisfied. At present, like I mentioned, if somebody is deprived of their votes, and you say that that person who is deprived of his vote can still be counted for the purposes of meeting the precondition for that vote to take place, that sounds difficult. Now, if you, again, on the other side, what they have done, it clearly to me is that it looks like the matter is ripe for the Supreme Court to make an intervention. If they cannot agree and to follow the law in a manner that we can all agree that this is how it ought to be, then I suppose that for this matter, it looks so ripe for the Supreme Court to clearly state what the position of the law is so that we don't come back to this place again. But I share the view of Rashid Draman that is going to be extremely unhelpful and will hurt this country if there is no cooperation but confrontation. If all issues are going to be determined by a vote, then there's going to be a big issue. Most of the MPs for the NPP, or a majority, a good number of them, are ministers, and they'll have to travel, and among other things. It will appear, Aisha, if you check the record of Parliament for Friday, it will appear that on Friday, the boycott by the majority was not actually because of the minority's conduct, but because the majority had discovered that they didn't have the numbers. Because if you check the record, it will show that Adjoa Safo was not present.
Yeah.
She was absent with permission.
Yeah.
What that essentially meant was that even if they didn't boycott, the results that would have been arrived at would have still been a rejection of the budget. So I feel that that clearly was a game they played. It was a strategy to work out and blame the minority for it, when in fact they didn't have the numbers.
And I think this is certainly something that should be addressed. And like you put it, the Supreme Court must interpret for us to understand what that particular providings of the law really means, so that we don't go back here. I'm grateful for your time, Samson Ladianyanini, and also Dr. Rashid Dramani for joining us. In business, rising concerns about the 1.75% e-levy as digital payments. Expert warns the charge will derail growth of digital financial services.
Negatively affect financial inclusion agenda as the government himself is driving. I don't think that, we are at a point where we have to tax the consumer.
There's more in business shortly.
We're supposed to be treated with respect. So if you want to reassign us, you should come out with verbal details. You can't just express and say, I want to reassign you. Where and who?
Hello everyone, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Now, one of the main reasons the minority and majority could not agree on the 2022 budget is the 1.7% e-levy. Although the budget has been passed, a senior manager at MTN and digital payment expert Godwin Tamaklu says the 1.75% electronic levy is going to disrupt the growth of digital financial services and consequently affect the national financial inclusion agenda.
That imposing taxes on mobile money services or electronic transactions in general is going to derail. It's going to derail the growth of financial services in this country. It will negatively affect financial inclusion agenda as the government himself is driving. I don't think that, we are at a point where we have to tax the consumer on these services. Maybe with time, when people are much matured and the system is also grown, such that all we do is digital services, then we have a point to chip in some of these charges. And even that, the quantum, the rate 1.75, I think personally that it's so high.
While still on the 2022 budget, which has now been passed, the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, has described Ghana's revenue target in the budget as over-ambitious. Government is forecasting 99.5 billion cedis as domestic revenue next year. But according to Director of ISE, Professor Peter Korte, a 42.17% increase in revenue is not feasible, hence government must consider revising it. He also points out that the nation will miss out on the fiscal deficit target of 7.4% in relation to the size of the economy.
They are overambitious, in my view, because within 1 year, if you're going to increase revenue by 42%, that is overambitious. But certainly there's going to be an increase in revenue. If you look at the digitalization agenda and all the new things that have been introduced, where you can pay your tax online, it's very good. However, I think that the quantum jump, 42.something% increase in revenue is not achievable, and we ought to revise. Moreover, even the e-tax that was proposed, you've seen the agitations and what have you, so some revision might happen. There is, even in terms of expenditure, more requests for other expenditures might come. So even our budget deficit target might be threatened. The fiscal deficit, as I mentioned, we may miss it maybe marginally, but I think for me it's ambitious, it's something that we ought to work on, because that's what foreign investors want, that we need to pursue vigorously our fiscal consolidation exercise. But what we have proposed, looking at the numbers, the revenue, and perhaps unless we cut down on our expenditure, otherwise revenue target is over ambitious, and our expenditure, if we are to maintain that expenditure, then we might miss our target. We have to fast track it, except that the rate, we ought to watch the rate, not at the rate at which you are pursuing it, so that it doesn't lead to hardships, it doesn't lead to unrest and social unrest and many other things. But yes, we need to fast track the fiscal consolidation. Or otherwise, the market will punish us if we want to go and borrow and so on and so forth.
Well, in other news tonight, the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, has accused government of failing to implement policies promised in the 2021 budget. Speaking at the 4th edition of the Ghana Agribusiness Excellence and Leadership Awards, he said, should government and successive governments commit fully to fulfilling promises to the sector, challenges in the agri sector will be addressed by up to 20%. Here's more in this report.
This year's edition of the Ghana Agribusiness Excellence and Leadership Awards was themed Sustainable Agriculture, a Catalyst for Food Security and Job Creation. Delivering a speech, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, urged governments, past and present, to deliver on their promises.
We think that a lot of investment is required in the industry, which is highly critical to our food security. And the recent intelligence report stated clearly, and I think I agree with them, most governments have not been able to commit 100% to their policy requirements, which I think that if that is adhered to, our challenges in the industry will be reduced by 20%. AFTA has come to stay, and it is for us as a country to design our strategic and look at for our comparative and competitive advantages in addressing various challenges that we face.
One of the awardees, Chief Executive of Agri-Impact, Fresh Logistics and ASNAP, Dana Kwe, lauded the organizers for recognizing players along the agri value chain.
The whole event, to me, is remarkable in a sense that most of the time we see awards when it comes to, what do you call it, like the celebrities, the music awards, fashion show, those kind of things. But when it comes to agribusiness, it's like very silent, and everyone thinks that, oh, these are maybe some poor farmers sitting somewhere. We've passed that stage. We are serious, strong entrepreneurs making significant contributions to economic development in the country. Coming to the award as the agribusiness management and consulting firm, I mean, to me, that is the best award I could ever take.
Out of 400 applications, 73 were awarded. Some of the winners are AgroKings Limited, which won the Promising Agribusiness Company of the Year, Juliana Asante, Agribusiness Woman of the Year, and Broad Spectrum, which won the Agritech Agridata Company of the Year. Blue Skies won the Agribusiness Export Company of the Year, whilst Agri-Impact Consult won Agribusiness Project Management Company of the Year.
That's your business update for now. There's more coming up in the next hour. Do stay tuned though. Sports is up next.
Now to the rest of our stories. Hundreds of toll collectors from around the country are demanding 2 months of unpaid salaries and employment after they were rendered jobless following the cessation of the tolls by the Roads and Highways Ministry. More than 800 toll collectors, including persons with physical disabilities, went home without the benefits. Their woes started when Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta scrapped the road tolls pending parliamentary approval of budget, adding it was creating unnecessary traffic.
Government has abolished all tolls on public roads and bridges. This takes effect immediately the budget is approved on appropriation. The toll collection personnel will be reassigned. The expected impact on productivity and reduce environmental pollution will more than offset the revenue foregone by removing the tolls.
2 weeks after life has been hard for the affected workers, hundreds of them, including persons with physical disabilities, staged a demonstration in Accra, registering their displeasure about the turn of events.
As we've been saying for the past few weeks since we lost our jobs, we are expecting our leaders to be lenient with us and consider our situation. As you can see, we are disabled. And this initiative was to elevate us from the roadside. So now that they say we should go home, what are they expecting us to do? So we are begging them, we are pleading with them. They should reconsider their decision and send us back to our jobs. That's all we need from them. Nothing else, nothing more.
When and where are they going to reassign us? Because you can't just come out and then express your view.
Reassign or sack. They said reassign or sack.
And that's what.
That's the second
yes.
press conference they did. Do they think we are fools? No, we ain't fools, right?
We are Ghanaians, and we're supposed to be treated with respect. So if you want to reassign us, you should come out with verbal details. You can't just express and say, I want to reassign you. Where and when? Where and when?
The payment they are saying they will pay recently. Kubasi Amakwata used his private car from Accra to Kubasi, gather them and inform them, you people should be home. I will pay you for almost a year now. Call them and ask them, have they even taken 1 month's pay? Amakwata himself put there. And now telling me you sack me to the house and you are telling me you will pay me back. When? The only thing is, the little that we've worked for, They should pay us. They've taken their work. They are Ghanaians. They are important. They are in need in the country. They've taken their work. Whether they will give it to their wives and their children, we don't care. The little that we have worked, they should just let us receive our messages. That is all. Wherever we go and find ourselves, it's not their case.
No, we are going back. We are not staying here. We are going back. But we are waiting for them to give us a good resource. We want to go back to our work. We need our job. That's the problem. We need to go back to the toll booth and go and work. To reassign us is when? It's waste of. That's what my brother is coming. Exactly. So we need to go and work. We need to go back to our work. And what is paining me, the budget that they read is 2022 budget. It's not 2021. And I learned Honorable Ken Oforesa said the budget will be sent to Parliament. They will go and review it and amend it so that they will decide whether they will close the toll or not. But we just realized on the Wednesday around midnight they said we shouldn't come to work again. It's very unfortunate.
We are talking about it because we want a good result. We don't want a situation by you will tell us that we should go. And maybe when you finish, you call us back or this thing. No. Right now, we want to hear good results. That's all. Because we want to work. We are in December. We are taking care of our children. The thing is, they are owning us. They should pay us. And they said they will reassign us. We are waiting, but we should continue working before that thing happens. Because we can't sit in the house whereby we don't have money. You tell us that you will pay us. Still, you haven't paid us. You should go and sit and you will reassign us. What are you telling us? You are lying to us. Let us keep working. At the same time, hey, Kwame, go to this station. You go here, go here. Simple.
They handed over their concerns to the Deputy Majority Whip Habib Idris and Deputy Minority Whip Ibrahim Ahmed in Parliament.
The Minority Leader himself would have been here to accompany the Honourable Majority Leader to receive your petition on behalf of the Right Honourable Speaker. Unfortunately, like he has stated, we are in very difficult times. Because of that, there is a dialogue and engagement meeting between the two sides of the House. So they are locked up there, and that's why we, the Deputy Whips, have been delegated to come and receive the petition on their behalf. All we can say is, we are your representatives. Before you thought of your petition, we started fighting for you. And this is a house of rules and regulations. There are procedures to be followed. It is good your petition has also come at the right time, also to confirm the position that was taken by the House itself. I remember the Speaker also ruled in your favor. So once you have brought this, we'll go and juxtapose this one with the comments that were made on the floor and the Speaker's direction that was given and see the way forward. This is an era where we are praying for inclusive economic activities. And that is where your livelihood depends. So just abrupt abrogation of that thing, that economic zone will not be to the benefit of the persons with, excuse me to say, disability. So whatever we'll do as your representatives, we'll do it. And I think the right thing will be done.
Grid Company Limited and the Electricity Company of Ghana say it will be difficult to prepare a load-shedding timetable in the wake of recent unstable power in Kumasi. It comes after consumers demanded a timetable to help plan and avert losses in their businesses. Power consumers in Greater Kumasi, therefore, will have to endure what has become known as doomsaw every evening until December 20.
The joint press conference held in Kumasi constituted officials from GridCo, VRA, ECG, and the Energy Ministry. Director for Northern Network Services for GridCo, Engineer Vincent Boache, spoke to the media. Explained it will be difficult for a load-shedding timetable to be issued.
Until the evening and looking at the voltage, GridCo system control doesn't know how much we need to, how much load relief we need in Kumasi. And it's when they tell ECG that ECG will be able to know, oh, today maybe there will be no load relief, or there will be 10 megawatt or 20 megawatt. So ECG, I don't think, can give a timetable. If they give a timetable, in the end, your factory or you can't even plan with it because it's either the light will come on or not. So
Meanwhile, the Energy Ministry says it is collaborating with its agencies to establish a power generation enclave in Kumasi to improve power supply.
One of them is the installation of a voltage correction equipment at the Kumasi substation. This one is being financed by the German government through Siemens, and that one, and also a third bulk supply point in Ashanti, which will be located in the offensive area, will all help to improve supply and voltage in Kumasi and beyond. Ghanaians, especially customers in Asante Man, should be rest assured that once this is resolved and the other projects come online, we'll have stable and reliable power.
Chief Director at the Energy Ministry, Lawrence Apalsi, have been apologizing for the inconveniences caused.
Problems in Kumasi as far as power stability is concerned has been an issue that this minister, as soon as he stepped in, the Minister of Energy, he put it on the drawing board, put it before the technical men, put it before all the directors and all our agencies in the power sector. What can we do to ensure that the power stability is restored? Because in the past, we relied on BUI. At the time the minister came into the ministry, BUI was disappointing. Not by itself, but by nature. BUI was no more able to sustain the supply that we needed to boost the Asante and the northern sectors.
This means that consumers in Greater Kumasi will have to endure the doomsday till December 20, when repair works on the damaged transmission lines are expected to be completed. Prince Apia reporting.
Despite the minority in Parliament's push to have the 1.75% electronic levy on mobile money and bank transactions withdrawn after the rejection of the 2022 budget, Chairman of Parliament's Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayu, says it would be key in funding healthcare in Ghana. Speaking at the 2021 Digital Health Week celebration organized by Pharmacists Foundation, he suggested the levy can be put into a fund to partly fund healthcare. My colleague Kwekwa Sante has more in the following report.
One of the key issues that led to the rejection of the 2022 budget by Parliament was government's plan to levy electronic transactions, mobile money and other bank transactions at a fee of 1.75%. It is currently a subject of negotiation between the two sides in Parliament on the way forward. But as the negotiation progresses, Chairman of Parliament Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayu, says the levy will be key in funding healthcare in the country. He was speaking at the Digital Week celebration organized by Farm Access.
And this is where I think that we need to support government to get the e-levy through. I'm moving into the age. And this is going to rake in about, let's say, 5 or 6 billion cedis a year as captured in the budget. Point is that there's a thin line between health and finance, economy. If the economy is not doing well, it affects the health sector, and vice versa. Even on quality of health, we would need more resources. And because we will need more resources to be applied in the area of digital healthcare, so do I also agree that there must be digital taxation.
At the center of the week's celebration is digital health and how it can improve healthcare outcomes. In an interview with Joy News, CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Lydia Jan Selby, argued that it's very crucial to digitize healthcare to improve access.
Once we link everybody, then we can plan some other kind of services around prevention. We now want to think about preventing illness rather than waiting for you to be sick so we treat. So we are encouraging everybody, use the star 929, link with your Ghana card, and then we, together with Ghana Health Service and the ministry, we will give you preventive health services as well.
Country Director of Farm Access Foundation, organizers of the week celebration, Dr. Maxwell Entry says that digitization of healthcare access will significantly improve the country's healthcare system.
This is one of the inefficiencies at the patient delivery level, where we can use technology to make patient delivery, healthcare delivery service efficient. You know, if someone is a diabetic or has diabetes and collapses in the middle of Central Business District of Accra now and is rushed to a hospital, and the folder is stuck in a warehouse full of old folders, by the time the health staff are able to retrieve the folder and flip through to know that patient A actually has diabetes, we have something in medicine called the golden 1 hour. That golden 1 hour would have been lost and would have serious and adverse sequelae on treatments.
On his part, Executive Director of the Christian Health Association of Ghana, Dr. Peter Yeboah, expressed the readiness of his organization to partner the state and other relevant stakeholders to deepen digitalization in the health sector.
As CHAG, we are looking at how we can use digital solutions to improve supply chain processes so that, one, the 3 key elements of attaining universal health coverage, which is, one, access, is improved to ensure that all people living in Ghana have access to services that are required. And the second aspect is quality. You observe that through digitalization, we have mechanisms for authenticating medicines. One of the key challenges with the entire system has to do with substandard, spurious, counterfeit, or low standard medicine.
We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll bring you more shortly.
Hello, we've got some more business news for you here on Joy News Prime. Cocoa farmers in the Peki traditional area in the South Dai district of the Volta region have appealed to the government to support them with the needed incentives to enhance their production. This, they believe, would propel the growth of the local economy, which would have a replicate effect on their livelihoods and government's income basket. Here's more.
Peki was one of the popular communities in the southern part of Ghana during the post-colonial era. This was due to the mass production of cocoa, where the majority of residents engage in cocoa farming. The cash crop was the nerve of the local economy.
Most of our grandparents were involved in cocoa farming, and in our records we know Peki to have been so much involved in cocoa farming all these years until the bushfire in 1983, and then before then the Volta Lake had a toll on cocoa farming over here. Indeed, it had a very devastating effect on cocoa farming in this valley.
In a bid to revive the cocoa-driven economy and restore the area's past glory, cocoa farmers have established an umbrella body. The group, christened Peki Cooperative Cocoa Farmers, seek to promote the agenda of the farmers by ensuring they receive the requisite inputs to enhance productivity. Bobby John Ransford is the chairperson for the farmers.
We are now forming cooperative groups so that we can also join hands with other cooperative groups in the whole country. And through this, we can be able to get incentives. So we are appealing to the government and the Cocoa Board to send us more mist blowers and slashes so that it will energize us to enlarge and increase our cocoa farms so that this operational area will come to its toe as how it was in our forefathers' time.
The South Dine District Chief Executive, Godwin Kwame Jajawa, promised his outfit's support towards reviving the cocoa industry of Peki.
South Dine District, for a past, is well known of cultivating cocoa, which is the main exporting crop in the country. So we realize we are doing a lot of disservice to ourselves. As a result of that, we have come together to assist our youth to engage in cocoa farming. That South Dine in future will become the main cocoa producing district in the entire country. Cocoa Board realizes that key area, the South Dine district, can contribute effectively to cocoa farming. The cocoa board industry is reviving it, and as a result has sent a technical officer who is permanently resident over here and is trying to help cocoa farmers over here to revive the cocoa farming in this area.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Peki.
Well, back to Accra, to the industrial city, where the Tema West Municipal Assembly says businesses in the area will play a pivotal role in the Assembly's development agenda. Aside from providing employment, the business community is seen as a partner in development, hence the need to maintain a healthy relationship with them. Municipal Chief Executive Anna Adukwe-Ado at a business forum said businesses will play a crucial role in a 7.5 million Ghana cedi educational complex project. Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
The business forum, according to Tema West Municipal Assembly, was a means to understand challenges of the business community. From the issues raised, it was clear that industries are not happy with the state of roads, springing up of slums, dysfunctional street lights, among some challenges. Municipal Chief Executive Anna Adukwe-Ado assured the business community that the Assembly will attend to these issues. She, however, used the forum to appeal to industries to help the Assembly undertake a proposed 7.5 million cedis educational complex project at Community 5 to help address overcrowding in classrooms and safety of pupils.
There's an estimate of 7.5 million. And so I presented it to our business community as part of their corporate social responsibility. They should consider that one. And I know that when we go back, this is just the beginning. I'm sure we'll be having more engagement just to convince them, to let them contribute their quota towards this project. And Assembly too, we can take part of our IGF and add it just to make, let our dream become a reality. From the meeting, I noticed that the main issues are the roads, the street lights, and then the slums. And I told them that with the street lights, we are setting up a task force that will take care of all the electoral areas.
Meanwhile, one of the participants, Electricity Company of Ghana, is not happy over how poor maintenance of 40 street lights by the Assembly and illegal connection at slums contribute to its commercial losses. Christopher Pau is the Tema South District Engineer for ECG.
These days, you notice that when you are driving in town, you see some of the street lights that are on during the day. The street lights are not supposed to be on during the day. They are supposed to be on during the night. And then during the day, they go off. Most of the photocell that control the coming on and off of the street lights automatically have developed faults. And when that happens, the street lights stay on. As a corporate institution, it adds up to our losses. Commercial losses, because no one is paying for that. So what we do is when we see them during the day, we would have to disconnect them in order to bring down our losses.
Tema West Municipal Assembly will be engaging other stakeholders as a way of making the Assembly visible.
Now, 150 unemployed persons have graduated from Sinapiaba Entrepreneurship Program, the Youth Apprenticeship Program, YAP. The beneficiaries went through a 3-year training in various vocational and technical training by the financial institution for free. The majority of them were selected from the Amasaman community, whilst the others came from Ashaiman and Tema, all in the Greater Accra region. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The Youth Apprenticeship Program, which started in 2003, has trained more than 1,000 unemployed youth across the country. The 2021 group were drawn from Amasaman, Ashaiman and Tema, and trained in various technical and vocational skills. The beneficiaries spent 3 years to learn the trade of their choice for free. Programs coordinator for the Youth Apprenticeship Program, Margaret Owusu-Asare, says the move by the financial institutions is to contribute to reducing unemployment in Ghana.
Sinapiaba recognizes that many of the youth who couldn't continue their education are lecturing about doing nothing. And therefore, it's thought it wise to help in training them. A program we are doing for some 150 youth who were supported by Sinapiaba to learn trades of their own choice. Hairdressing, dressmaking, auto electrical, auto mechanic, tile laying, catering, and then aluminium fabrication and welding. We want the trained apprentices who are now graduates to be able to work for themselves, to help community development, help their family, their parents, and whoever may need their help. For every child that we train, we spend not less than 5,000 Ghana, and they are 150, so you can imagine.
Chief Programs Officer for the financial institution, Joyce Owusudabo, advised the graduates to put premium on their finishing to stand out.
There's competition out there. Then when the difference you bring, the value addition you bring to your service. And you say, we are graduates for her. The natural say, let the finishing of your work be different. Only I need to know just benefit
At the graduation ceremony, outstanding trainees were awarded. The beneficiaries also received some startup capital and equipment.
I would like to say a very big thank you because actually I would say I have a hope for the future now. But then I didn't have any hope. I was just a common painter who paints and takes 50 series. But now I can proudly say I'll be able to set up a business and work for myself.
Before I joined, I was unemployed and I was home. I didn't have any source of income, and I was dependent on my parents for my daily livelihood. So it's been very important to me. I'm looking forward to serving my master a bit, and then after that I'll branch into my own business.
Meanwhile, the Amasaman training and YAP graduation brought together many players in the industry. It had technical support from the Youth Employment Agency and the District Assembly. Prince Apia reporting.
Well, up next, some news from around the world. And the small business news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Hans has sports up next.
Hello once again, thanks for joining me for sports. St. Gallen defender Musa Nuhu has revealed he's hoping to force his way into coach Milovan Raiva's squad ahead of the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations. The 24-year-old defender received his debut invitation to the senior national team ahead of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, but picked a knock during the training camp in Dubai. The former Wafa defender was sidelined as a result and subsequently lost his place in the national team. However, he is now fully fit and waiting on the wings for a call-up. Musa Nuhu has been speaking to my colleague George Adu Jr.
Bit of sad news, for you, I guess, in 2019. Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, that's why I got injured. It was in one of the training sessions, and we were playing, I think 11v11. So I went in a tackle, and my opponent fell on my knee. So that's how it happened. I said I was disappointed because I felt like I was going to stay out for long by not playing football. So I wasn't really disappointed of not going to the AFCON, but just disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to play again for so long.
So how difficult was the period in trying to get back to normal football? How difficult was it?
Yeah, it was difficult because it took longer than we expected. The doctors told me that it was going to take, I think, 8 months or something like that, but it ended up taking 1.5 years before I was able to start playing. So it was a lot for me at that time.
And finally, you got the confidence to kick a ball. How was the feeling?
It was amazing. It was really amazing.
Yeah. So since you got back, you've been playing for about what? Some 1.5 years?
Yeah, I think 1.5 year or a year now, because I came back and had some complications, so I had to stop for a bit and then come back again. So yeah.
But now you are back to full fitness and everything, and you're doing your best. Do you follow the Black Stars games? Do you follow Black Stars games?
Yeah, I have some friends who play who are in the team, so I always follow the games and watch all the games.
So how nervous was it when you're watching that Ghana-South Africa game, knowing that? How nervous was it?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous because I felt like this was our only chance to play in the World Cup. So if we were able to jump this hurdle, then it's possible for us in the playoffs. So I was praying that we could win that game. And, we were able to. So
we're still at the playoff stage anyway. We're waiting for the opponent Ghana is going to play. It could be Tunisia, it could be Senegal, it could be Nigeria, it could be Algeria. But we have to get over the South Africa hurdle, because at the moment the bilateral issue, the bilateral issue right there, the Parliamentary committee. So we don't know whether there will be a replay or not, but we'll try and sort all of that and see how it goes, obviously. But Ghana has qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations, and there's so much to come from that angle. Are you looking forward to a Black Stars call-up?
Yeah, sure, because I feel like I'm over my injury now and I've started playing games, and so if I got the call up to play in the African Cup, it will be a great feeling.
I can imagine the kind of conversations that you have, especially when Atiziki goes to the Black Stars and comes back.
We talk a lot about it. We talk about how the way forward and everything. So we most times discuss what it's something internal that we feel what do you think we can do to go forward, going forward and everything. So we have a lot of conversation about it when we come back.
That's right. Your WhatsApp status, yes. Your WhatsApp status says, don't complain, just train. So
yeah, I don't complain.
Where did you learn that?
It's funny because this was when I was in Ghana. It has been on there for more than 4 years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because I think I was walking around in the city, in Kumasi, and I saw a person with a T-shirt, and it was written at the back of it. So I loved it. So I took it and wrote it on What's the status?
Don't complain, just train. Whether the coach likes you, and I see a lot of wisdom in that. Whether the coach likes you, whether the coach doesn't like you, whether you're getting a chance to play, just don't complain. Go ahead and train.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to borrow it. I mean,
you have to. It's really
don't complain. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Really good.
The male and female national rugby teams have presented the 7th World Cup qualifiers trophies to Asante Otumfuo to the second at the Municipal Palace on Monday. Love FM's Steve Zando was there and comes through with this report.
Rugby team has called on Asante Otumfuo II at the Municipal Palace to present trophies and awards won during the West African zone of the Rugby 7th Pre-World Cup qualifiers. The male and female national rugby teams conquered West Africa last Sunday at the Pajo Stadium at Kinwesti when they emerged champions in both the men and women categories. For the men's division, the Ghana's Eagles endured a difficult game in the final to beat Burkina Faso by 17-15 to win the coveted title. The Eaglets, Ghana's female rugby team, also produced an impressive performance to finish as overall winners with 12 points. The teams, led by Ghana Rugby Union President Herbert Mensah, were at Menchia on Monday to present the trophies to the Asantehene. Mr. Herbert Mensah expressed his gratitude to His Royal Majesty for inspiring the team to victory.
We're here today to give thanks for both your greatness, your advice, your direction in bringing success to Ghana. Many people don't know that without you, Otumfuo, we would not have been able to achieve the greatest sporting victory in Ghana for the last few years.
Ghana battled Niger, Togo, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast and Benin to win the ultimates. Captain of the Eagles, Salom Gavo, speaking to Live Sports, explained how the team's encounter with Asantehene will spur them on to do more for Ghana.
I mean, like I said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many. We've had that opportunity. We've been welcomed with open arms. Him and all his people have made it a pleasant stay for us in Kumasi, so we are really grateful for that. And we will take it forward going into our next competition and into our preparation to make sure we are ready and make him proud and make the rest of Ghana proud.
Both the male and female rugby national teams are now through to the final stage of the Rugby 7th World Cup qualifiers. Team manager of the Eaglets and board member of Ghana Rugby, Rafatu Yunusa, is appealing to government and corporate entities to support the Ghana rugby teams when they compete to lift the flag of Ghana high.
I believe we need the government's intervention, corporate bodies. The president, Mr. Herbert Mensah, is already doing his best for both men and women. We need every corporate body to come to our aid and motivate, support the men and women so that we can continue lifting the flag of Ghana high.
And that'll be all for sports. Read more at myjoyonline.com/sports. I'm Hans Mensando.
And as I wrap up the bulletin tonight, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching.